Hello everyone, Andrew Breiter-Wu from Breiter Planet Properties. On behalf of our company, we hope you and your family are safe and doing well. We're definitely in strange times, but we just want to send that quick message to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, you're staying safe and socially distanced, but not separated from one another. During the face of COVID-19, the solar industry has lost approximately 6,000 jobs, and that's no small amount. I mean, it definitely stifled some of the rapid growth that we were seeing within the industry, but collectively, between our relationships and our partnerships, we found that the industry is still going very strong. We're still moving along with projects. I mean, some developers are having challenges. Some engineering, procurement contractors are also having some delays, but for the most part, the industry is full-fledged and going forward to achieve our mission of decarbonizing our grid and deploying as much solar as possible across the globe. And one nice thing that came out of it was the Massachusetts SMART program, which is the solar incentive program in the state of Massachusetts. They extended the program. They released a emergency response, which we were expecting to come out at some point. It actually came out earlier than expected, and it's what's caused the solar incentives across Massachusetts to boom. I mean, it's what's created this massive demand for smart program projects. So we were very excited across the industry. We were pleased to see this come out earlier than expected. The way the program works is there's something called a solar tariff generating units, STGU we can call it. And you were set to receive a 6-month emergency reservation period, and all STGUs that apply to the Department of Energy Regulation, Energy Resources, between April 15th to July 1st will automatically receive this emergency extension when they apply. That was one item, but the more exciting pieces are as follows. The increase in the number of blocks in each service territory, so that's whether it's Eversource or National Grid in Massachusetts or even Unitil, from 16 blocks, or to 16 blocks from 8, and which increased the overall SMART program from 1.6 gigawatts to 3.2 gigawatts, basically doubling the SMART program. In areas like National Grid were areas that the industry found to be particularly hard, where developers didn't know what the future looked like in National Grid. The block filled up within a few weeks of the program releasing of Smart 1, and we didn't know what the next step would look like in National Grid. And with this emergency filing, we are reaffirmed that in National Grid there is a future for the energy grid, and we know that for the solar industry, we know that there's a lot more real estate in the center part of Massachusetts and part not fully in Western Mass, where there's a little bit more impact to the grid, but when it comes to Central Mass and National Grid territory, there's much more real estate, which is great. There are still some challenges, still congestion challenges within the center of our state, but we are happy. We are very happy with this expansion of the program and this reaffirmation that the state is continuing to be committed to a renewable energy economy in Massachusetts. The expansion also includes for smaller projects from 25 kilowatts to 500 kilowatts and low-income community solar projects an additional expansion, which is great to see. One part, when we talk about habitat and we talk about siting of projects. It can be very contested when it comes to community members, and there can be a lot of concerns with how we approach proper solar project siting. We get a lot of land that comes through us to lease the land, to purchase the land, and develop it. But we find that it's a very contested area for many local communities that don't want it in their backyard, the not in my backyard type of philosophy or mentality, which I understand. But at the same time, we do as much as we possibly can to address those concerns and be understanding and find solutions to cover up the solar project, whether it be with shrubbery or trees or just fencing, and how to beautify the land so that we're not affecting the overall appearance and overall views of the local abutting neighbors. So when it comes to clarifying the development rights of the SMART program projects on land that is considered core habitat or critical natural landscape or important agricultural farmlands, they replaced the existing prime agricultural farmland concept with these further definitions. And projects that apply to the program prior to April 15, 2020 are subject to the existing land use regulations. But with this new definition of what these critical protected lands are, it's important to address and do what we can to make sure that we're not developing land on areas that should be more protected or that are core habitat for a endangered species of some sort. So the way it works is they've limited how much we can actually put on those defined habitats, of how much solar we can place on it. And they added a pollinator adder. So when it comes to bees plus solar, I mean, solar, we had a solar plus decade. We're in an era where we want to add solar plus storage, solar plus agriculture. We have solar plus bees. And the solar plus bee adder, or the pollinator adder, is a 0.25 cent per kilowatt hour adder, subject to, of course, certain requirements and approvals. But this adder allows us that further focus that the state wants us as developers to have on improving the natural landscape, improving the ecosystem around us, and supporting beehives and colonies that we are definitely endangering with a lot of the industry and a lot of the other kind of habitat destroying activities that not we as developers, but we as a society and we as humans have done for so long, and we're very excited about this pollinator adder. So it also added a expanded scope of low-income customers that was something that we saw a lot of organizations, community-based organizations, writing letters to the DOER, and really they were disappointed with how it was addressed in the first SMART program, or SMART 1. And with the new program, there's an additional focus for neighborhoods that are identified through the American Community Survey data as having a household income of equal to or less than 65% of the statewide median income. And even if such an individual would not necessarily be considered a low to moderate income customer on their own, being located in that area was one addition that we added, or DOER added to the program. And then the next piece that they added was requiring, and I would say this is a big piece, requiring energy storage on projects larger than 500 kilowatts. unless the STGU can satisfy specific exemption requirements. In practice, many projects in Massachusetts were already including storage due to storage adder available under the SMART program, which was very attractive, and many developers wanted to opt for that already before it was required. But now this requirement, it will throw off some of the financials of some projects that didn't get into SMART yet or were holding off, and now they have to add the capital expenditure of batteries into their overall financial model, but you also get the adder. So that was one place. It was a pleasant surprise. I'm very supportive of it, but it was also a surprise where developers have to take a step back and reassess, relook at the financials of projects. But ultimately, distributed energy resources such as energy storage is critical to our grid. It's critical to demand management. It's critical to how we do our resiliency planning on a grid basis and as a community and state. So we were very excited about seeing that adder. Additionally, they imposed further limits on the number of large customers in the community solar projects, such as adding utility scale off-takers or large corporate customers, and they are really focusing on having more small ratepayers such as nonprofits and individual homeowners that are the community solar off-takers or subscribers, correction. Next, they added they expanded the locations where a public entity, STGU, may be located, and increasing its adder from 2 cents a kilowatt hour to 4 cents a kilowatt hour. Next, I'm just going to kind of run down through a few more, just so that you have the information, and then I'm going to wrap up by the end of why it's important and why this all matters. Adding additional clarifications related to the location and compensation for canopy-based solar systems. The challenge that was happening were many developers were developing parking lots to then place a canopy on top of and get the canopy adder. And that parking lot may not have been a good parking lot. It may not have actually been used as a parking lot, but they were able to get that canopy adder. Placing the further restrictions on or requirements and classifications on the canopy saves a lot of Q&A back and forth with the DOER and just provides some further clarity for us. It's important to note that these regulations are proposed and open for public comment. When we were initially filming this, we know we were very positive of them being passed, but on the 22nd, which it happened, and the DOER expects the regulations to be officially announced July 15th. So we're coming up. We're excited to see these changes implemented, and when it comes to tying it back to COVID-19 and the challenges of the industry losing 6,000 jobs or more and counting, when it comes to states enacting these infrastructure projects, and when it comes to states that see infrastructure and development as a means to bring people back to work and bring people or bring economic stimulus to communities, Massachusetts has it right. Our legislator are both on the Congress side and on our Governor Baker, and even in the city of Boston, Mayor Walsh. They have it right. We need to bring people back to work. We're hitting record high unemployment, and we need to continue to deploy infrastructure projects and get people back to work. And solar development, construction, operation, and maintenance, you're creating these jobs that during the peak of construction, you'll have the peak of jobs available, but then you have ongoing, on an ongoing basis, you'll have operation and maintenance to maintain their systems and the jobs that are required. And when we pursue these types of projects, whether it be with a state or a government entity or other types of municipalities, we talk about the importance of stimulating their economy through the development and deployment of capital into these projects. So we are excited about the SMART program iteration coming out. Much needed. it reaffirmed our confidence in our home state of Massachusetts, and we are excited to see what the next chapter looks like in the Massachusetts energy grid and infrastructure and state. So, thank you for watching. As always, please subscribe, follow, support us, and we look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. Take care. Bye.